involving Mexican mafia prison inmates who directed gang members on the outside.
Former 404 State District Court Judge Abel Lemus is facing 10 years to life in prison.
FBI activity. We see people in their FBI jackets walking in and out of the home. I'm just going to step aside here.
The FBI also searched county and city government buildings in Laredo today.
At exactly 5:42 a.m., the stillness of a quiet Brownsville neighborhood shattered beneath the thunder of a steel battering ram. Floodlights cut through the early morning haze as a joint FBI ICE strike team pushed into a 2-story luxury home that had never once raised suspicion among its neighbors. But this wasn't the house of a cartel boss. This was the residence of a sitting Texas district court judge. Inside, agents moved with surgical precision. The target, Judge Abel Lemus, stood frozen inside his private study, a satellite phone still warm in his hand. Moments earlier, he had sent a final encrypted message: burn everything. But he didn't have the time. As agents swept through the home, they discovered evidence that made even the most experienced investigators go silent. 13 bricks of cocaine were stacked neatly beside official case files. A locked safe, hidden behind a religious portrait, contained bundles of cash wrapped in court memo envelopes. And in the drawer of his desk, they found a burner phone with recent calls to known cartel intermediaries. In the living room, a shocked junior agent whispered the line that would later become the headline across every major news outlet. He wasn't protecting justice. Justice needed protection from him. The raid was only the beginning. What investigators were about to uncover wasn't a single corrupt judge. It was an entire ecosystem of bribery, deception, and murder operating behind the facade of the Texas justice system.
This was a collaboration between local and federal authorities. So we're talking about agencies including the DA, ATF, DEA, the San Diego Police Department.
For more than a year, an anomaly in the statistics puzzled federal analysts. In the 404th District Court, defendants tied to cartel activity almost never faced consequences. An unheard-of 93% acquittal rate triggered a quiet internal review, one that quickly turned into a full-scale federal investigation. The deeper analysts dug, the more impossible the numbers became. Drug seizures were mysteriously declining, even as statewide trafficking was increasing. Key witnesses vanished before trial. Cases involving violent cartel affiliates were repeatedly dismissed over technical errors that seemed to occur only in Judge Lamas's courtroom. Wiretaps eventually uncovered coded conversations between smugglers, lawyers, and intermediaries. Innocent-sounding phrases like golf lessons and clean swings actually referred to drug loads and safe border crossings, but one name appeared in every coded exchange: the golfer. When analysts uncovered the identity behind that nickname, the investigation nearly froze. The golfer was not a trafficker. He wasn't a cartel soldier. The golfer was Judge Abel Lemus himself. Soon, the corruption web expanded. A district attorney was secretly receiving monthly payments disguised as consultation fees. Local attorneys operated as brokers, transferring bribe money between traffickers and courthouse officials. Even Border Patrol officers were implicated, providing clean lanes for certain vehicles. The cartel hadn't infiltrated the justice system. They had purchased it wholesale. And if the cartel owned the court, then anyone standing in their way was already marked.
This is video you will see only on Fox 5. The FBI in the Atlanta area making a major drug bust. Federal agents say they stopped millions of dollars of hard drugs from hitting the streets.
A breakthrough came when aerial surveillance captured unusual activity around a rural property owned by an associate attorney. Drones observed armed guards pacing around a horse stable at odd hours, behavior that didn't match agricultural routines. When tactical teams breached the property, they found something far more dangerous than weapons or drugs. Beneath a concealed trapdoor lay a humid, steel-reinforced tunnel stretching more than 120 meters, running straight under the border. The tunnel wasn't just a smuggling route. It was the artery feeding an entire criminal ecosystem. At the same time, agents raided what appeared to be an abandoned office building. Inside, they uncovered a fully operational counter-surveillance center. Monitors displayed live feeds from hidden cameras aimed at border checkpoints. A wall of radios was tuned to federal frequencies. For nearly 2 years, cartel operatives had been tracking federal agents in real time using stolen or duplicated access codes. One of the hard drives seized inside the surveillance hub contained a chilling file. a list of federal agents and informants marked as priority threats. Next to some names were dates, and those dates matched homicides in both the U.S. and Mexico. The judge wasn't protecting criminals. He was selecting federal agents for execution.
Involving Mexican mafia prison inmates who directed gang members on the outside to commit violent crimes.
Now, the 6-month operation also involved drug trafficking, ghost guns, and more.
The most dangerous piece of the network, a communications hub in Harlingen, became the next priority target. Intelligence confirmed that the building stored encrypted cartel schedules, payment ledgers, and target assignments. If the cartel sensed an incoming raid, they would destroy everything. And that's exactly what they tried to do. Before agents could breach the metal roll-up door, smoke began pouring through the ventilation slats. Inside, cartel operatives were burning documents, smashing servers, and destroying evidence in a desperate scorched earth retreat. The entry team forced their way inside under thick black smoke as 2 suspects attempted to flee through a side exit. Agents neutralized them, while others rushed to extinguish the flames consuming the servers.
Former 404th State District Court Judge Abel Lemus is facing 10 years to life in prison, but his sentencing is taking place more than 2 years after he pleaded guilty to racketeering.
By sunrise, dozens of suspects were in custody across 5 additional states. Inside burned hard drives, analysts recovered distribution maps stretching to Houston, Atlanta, Chicago, and LA. Money laundering records linking judges, attorneys, and traffickers. Communications proving that court officials had been identifying federal targets. In the words of the lead investigator, "We thought we were uncovering corruption. We were uncovering an assassination pipeline."
FBI activity. We see people in their FBI jackets walking in and out of the home. I'm just going to step aside here and we give you a zoomed in look on what's going on and what's taking place out here.
When forensic teams finished decoding the black notebook found in Judge Lamas's safe, the investigation took its darkest turn. 27 names were listed. Next to 18 names, the word resolved. All 18 individuals were dead. 6 were missing. 3 had fled the country. Among the dead were undercover DEA agents, informants, and witnesses who had disappeared shortly after testifying in Lamas's courtroom. The judge wasn't simply turning criminals loose, he was facilitating executions. Public outrage exploded. Protesters stood outside the courthouse demanding accountability. Headlines across the country read, "The Judge Who Became the Cartel." At sentencing, the federal judge...
The FBI also searched county and city government buildings in Laredo today, shutting down work there. Eyewitness News reporter James Keith has the latest.
...said words that would be replayed for years. "You use the robe to shield murderers and deliver victims. Justice demands your removal, permanently." Judge Abel Lamas received a life in federal prison without parole. His co-conspirators received decades. The tunnel was filled with concrete. The surveillance centers were dismantled. But investigators know corruption rarely dies. It goes underground. And as long as cartels seek power, there will always be someone willing to sell it. The only defense left is exposure.